Hi, Epi here for the last in the series. This is Video Vav, the sixth episode and the very last. And what we're going to do today is look at chapter 5, verse 2 to chapter 6, verse 3. I hope you have your books in front of you. This is a very powerful poem, one of my favorite in all of Hebrew literature, actually. And as I said, somewhat related to what we looked at in chapter 3 in video Hey. So, I'm going to read it to you in English, even though the English limits the beauty of it all, but this way I'm going to read the entire poem, and you'll see where it takes us. I was asleep, but my heart was wakeful. Hark! My beloved knocks. Let me in, my own, my darling, my faultless dove, for my head is drenched with dew, my locks with damp of night. I had taken off my robe, was I to don it again? I had bathed my feet, was I to soil them again? My beloved took his hand off the latch, and my heart was stirred for him. I rose to let in my beloved, my hands dripped with myrrh, my fingers flowing myrrh upon the handles of the bolt. I opened the door for my beloved, but my beloved had turned and gone. I was faint because of what he said. I sought but found him not. I called but he did not answer. I met the watchmen who patrolled the town. They struck me, they bruised me. The guards of the walls stripped me of my mantle. I adjure you, O maidens of Jerusalem, if you meet my beloved, tell him this, that I am faint with love. How is your lover, how is your beloved better than another, O fairest of women? How is your beloved better than another, that you adjure us so? My beloved is clear-skinned and ruddy, preeminent among 10,000. His head is fine as gold, his locks are curled and black as a raven, his eyes are like doves by watercourses, bathed in milk, set by a brimming pool. His cheeks are like beds of spices, banks of perfume, his lips are like lilies, they drip flowing myrrh. His hands are rods of gold, studded with beryl, his belly a tablet of ivory, adorned with sapphires. His legs are like marble pillars, set in sockets of fine gold. He is majestic as Lebanon, stately as the cedars. His mouth is delicious, and all of him is delightful. Such is my beloved, such is my darling, O maidens of Jerusalem. Oh, whither has your beloved gone, O fairest of women? Whither has your beloved turned? Let us seek him with you. My beloved has gone down to his garden, to the beds of spices, to browse in the gardens, and to pick lilies. I am my beloved's, and my beloved is mine. He browses among the lilies. Well, that's the entire poem, and as I said, the English doesn't really do it justice, but let's look at it carefully with the time that we have. She's asleep, but sort of awake. She says, Libi er. We know Lev in the Tanakh, heart, is not the center of affect, it's the center of cognition. She's thinking, she's daydreaming, and her beloved knocks. He says, let me in, my darling, my faultless dove. It's all very beautiful in Hebrew because it rhymes. Pitrili, achoti, rayati, yonati, tamati, sheoshi, ninlatal, etc. And she starts to get a little coquettish. Oh, I've taken off my dress already. I've already bathed my feet. Should I get up for you? I'm not so sure. And he put his hand through the latch or the door. Well, this could mean an awful lot of things. If you can make it as erotic as you want to make it. But here she says, Me'ai hamu alav. This is the center of emotion, of deep feeling. The innards, the place where the emotion comes from in the Bible is the gut, which is the source of I hate your guts in English, right? But that's the source of emotion. So she says, now it's no longer my mind that is active. my lev, but now it is my inners that I'm aroused, is what she's saying. And now my hands drip myrrh. So in the same way that he had this kind of moistness about him before, now she does. Again, highly erotic. I opened the door, but my beloved had gone, left. And now I'm in the same situation I was in chapter 3, in that other poem. The line here is very nafshi yatsa b'dabro. They translated, I was faint because of what he said. My soul went out b'dabro, but davar is ledaber, to speak, what he said. That's what it made me emote. But also davar is thing, so it could be even more erotic than we see on the surface. Bikashtiu velo mitzatiu. That's the same line almost that we saw in chapter 3. I sought him, but I couldn't find him. I went outside, and the cops found me. Now this time, you see, she's not dressed properly. She said she wasn't dressed properly. They hit me, they abused me, because they thought I was, in fact, a prostitute, walking around like this in the night. Well, so here's that moment where the beautiful act of a lover seeking her beloved is completely misinterpreted. And I didn't mention this earlier, but I should have said it maybe in the very first episode. The opposite of ahava in Hebrew, in biblical Hebrew, the opposite of true love is not hatred. It's znut, prostitution. And it's used in the same way that love is used, in the same way that love is either, can be both horizontal, love amongst humans, and vertical, the love between God and the house of Israel. So znut, prostitution, is prostitution, regular prostitution, what we know to be prostitution, but also asher atem zonim achareim, from Kriyat Shema, the lack of faith in God and the prostituting again to other gods. So here they misinterpret her completely. Very much like if we were to make our own allegory here, it would be like the United Nations calling Zionism racism. That was such a slap in the face of the Jewish people, because we know what Zionism is, and we know what it has meant to us, even before political Zionism, what the love of Israel meant to our people all these years. To call it racism was the ultimate slap in the face. And the same thing here. She's on a holy mission, a sacred mission, seeking her beloved, and they think of her as a whore. So she turns to the daughters of Jerusalem, and she says to them, if you find him, if you find my lover, tell him that I am faint with love. And here, faint with love is, as I said, not like the other time. Here it is without love. Faint because of the lack of love. They, of course, say, what's so special about your lover? And she goes into this long description, which we don't have that much time for, this long description of his physical body, which gets very erotic. And at the end, actually, his lips are like lilies, they drip flowing myrrh. His hands, his belly, she talks about, his legs. And in the end, she says what she said before, in an earlier chapter, his mouth is delicious. Chiko mamtakim, v'chulo machmadim. All of him is a delight. Everything about him is a delight. Such is my beloved. Zedodi v'zerei benot Yerushalayim. O daughters of Jerusalem. And I told you in Rashi, in the allegory, these are the nations of the world. She's speaking about her relationship. She, the house of Israel, speaking about his relationship with God. And where does this take place historically in the allegory? Interestingly enough, what is that knock at the beginning? That knock at the beginning is a knock, according to the allegory, of the prophets in Babylon, telling the children of Israel who are captive in Babylon after the destruction of the first temple, Cyrus has given us permission to go home, to go back to Israel. Let us go back to Israel and rebuild the temple. As some of them play games like she did. Well, I've opened up a store. I can't leave right now. This is not a good time for Aliyah, etc. So all of these possibilities are there in the allegory, including our own personal allegory. So they once they hear this description, the daughters of Jerusalem, as it were, the nations of the world, whatever, say to her, "Oh, well, if he's that beautiful, maybe we should help you look for him. We'll help you look for him. We understand your quest. Unvakshenu imach, let us seek him with you." She intervenes immediately, and this is the end of the poem. She says, "No, Dodir ad legano la'arugot habosim. I know where he is. I know I know where the presence of God is. I know where my beloved is, and I will find him. He's gone down there to pick, to browse in the gardens and to pick lilies. Ani ledodi v'dodi li." That's the single most important statement in the entire book. It repeats itself. Here she says, after all this questing, even if he's not with me this moment, we are an exclusive entity. We are what we are. I am my beloved's, and my beloved is mine. He browses among the lilies. I know where to find him. So this is, of course, as a love poem, it's very, very powerful. But also in terms of the allegory, the sense that even if God is not always present, we have a sense of his presence, and we can search for him, and the hope is that he will find us, and we will find him. A wonderful message for these troubled times before Pesach, when we're making a Pesach that is unlike any other Pesach in our lives because of this virus. I wish you a Chag Kasher v'Sameach. Before that, a Shabbat Shalom, and let's make of Pesach as joyous a festival as we can in these times.